help you improve your jumps. I have got some fantastic exercises. My name's Claire and I'm a ballet teacher. I've been teaching ballet for 10 years now, and previously I was a dancer for 20 years. So I've done a little bit of practice, and I want to share with you my tips on how to improve your ballet, how to improve your dance in general. I was a trained ballet dancer, but I actually performed in the modern dance field, so I have my fingers in many pies. And I absolutely love seeing my dancers benefit from learning the mechanics of how I can help them improve their ballet or improve their modern or jazz, whatever type of dance you do really. So today I'm talking about jumps. I've talked about jumps before, I know, and you're welcome to switch back and look at that video as well. But I've already talked about using your eye line. I'm going to give you a little refresher, because I've already talked about using your eye line. So if you raise your eye line as you jump, that's going to make it look like you're going up. It's going to improve your posture so that your jumps will lift into the air. If you breathe in as you make a big jump, that's going to help you get off the ground. If you think about the rebound effect, so if you think about when you land your jump, you're going to bounce back up, that will help your jump. And of course, listening to the music, that's the most important thing of all. If you use the music to your advantage, your jumps will improve. If you ignore the music and you think, well, I want to do a jump like this, it's not going to help your jumps. So we've already talked about that side of jumping. What I want to do is talk about the mechanics of your jumps and how you can really improve the strength. I've noticed, especially with adult dancers, it can be quite nerve-wracking jumping. Obviously, as we get older, we get a little bit more fear of things in general. So there's the fear of falling over, there's the fear of feeling silly, there's the fear of landing awkwardly and potentially hurting yourself. So I do appreciate there is all this. Plus also, we tend to be much more static. If you see children, they run everywhere, literally. They run up the stairs, they run down the stairs, they run to school, they run back again, they run in the playground. They have just got this amazing, limitless supply of unbounded energy, which is phenomenal and is lovely. And, it's fantastic to see that. We wish we had it still. But as we get older, we do lose some of that energy because we spend a lot of time sitting down. Most of us have jobs in the day where you're sat at a computer, or maybe you're stood, but you're stood still. We don't generally have jobs where we're moving around and rushing around. Some of us are very lucky and do, but most people have sedentary jobs. And as you spend more time sitting down, you find your muscles get tighter and tighter and tighter and less used to moving, and the circulation starts to decrease, and it becomes, I sound really depressing now, but it becomes a bit of a downward spiral, a very slow downward spiral. But the more sedentary we are, the less active we are, and everything starts to lose its power. Basically, it is totally true that you need to use it or lose it. So that's something to bear in mind as we get older and potentially more sedentary. It's going to be harder to jump because we're doing less running around, so our muscles are less agile. So as a dancer, you're going to want to improve your muscle strength. You're going to need to improve your muscle flexibility, that resistance in that muscle. It's not just about brute force to get you off the floor. It's about the spring in your muscle, the gazelle effect, I'd like to say, that gives you that spring in your step and helps you jump off the floor. And also sort of the mobility in your knees and your ankles and your hips, because it's those joints that need to create the spring effect, because they're the joints that need to bend in order to push you off the floor. Obviously, if you have had knee problems, ankle or hip problems or back problems, this is something you need to discuss with your doctor before trying any of these exercises, because you do need to make sure that your joints and your bones and your muscles are okay to do this. Yeah, so definitely if you've had any form of surgery or any form of injuries in those areas, you do absolutely need to speak to your doctor to get clearance on that, because only they know how much your knees and ankles and joints can take. And yes, it's good to build up the strength, but at the same time, if your joint is already compromised, doing lots of repetitive exercises on a compromised joint is going to affect that joint. It's not going to be running as smoothly. If your joint is running like that, nice and square, great. It can do thousands, well, millions and millions of repetitions because it's in alignment with where it's meant to be. But if it's been injured and it's slightly like that, those repetitions are going to cause more wear and tear. So that's something you do really need to bear in mind and make sure you get checked up before you actually embark on any of these. So I am going to give you some lovely exercises that hopefully will help build up your strength. They're kind of obvious, but at the same time, you know, we often forget about the obvious, don't we? We just carry on and do what we're doing and think, oh yeah, I should be doing that really, shouldn't I? So first of all, when you're thinking of jumps, and this is my focus this week, think of every single time you bend your knees. You don't want it to be a bend and stretch. It doesn't want to be a brittle movement. You want to be using that elasticity of movement. So I'm just going to stand up and sort of show you. So for example, when you're doing a plie, you want to be making sure that you bend and take your time getting there. So you just get to your maximum before you come back up again. We don't want to go down and up. We want to go down, 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 up, down, 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 up, maybe rise. And do you see what I mean? So it's got that lovely ooziness to it. And that way, what you're doing is you're working on both muscle groups. Yes, you're working on your quads and your hamstrings because you're using the opposing muscle group to create that resistance as you bend your legs and as you stretch your legs. So it's doubling the effect of the plie. Also, with the timing of it, it's giving it that smooth effect. You're not just going to your maximum and just jamming at the joint. You're just going there just enough and then getting a little bit of a rebound, which is what you need with your jump. So lots of plies using, really thinking along those lines. For example, every ballet class, every time you bend your knees, you think of that kind of movement. That will help your jumps. In between classes, just doing those plies over and over again will help your jumps. Once you've got your plies going, you can do little bounces. Just do it in parallel if you like, just little bounces. And yeah, just getting that, even if you don't actually jump off the floor to start with, just getting your knees and ankles and hips going, making sure you don't bend forward. Yes, it's very tempting to bend forwards and that can actually affect you. You want to keep your hips over your feet and your shoulders over your hips. So just getting that nice bounce going is really effective. Then once you've got that going and you're feeling nice and warmed, you can do little bounces with a little jump. Okay, and again, doing a few of those every single day. I know I'm probably asking for a lot, but if you're really wanting to improve something, if you go through a little process of doing that as a regular exercise, it could be while you're waiting for the kettle to boil, having a few little knee bounces or gentle plies, then the bounce, the sort of non-jumpy bounces going into jumpy bounces, you will find you build up strength. Take that one step forward. I've noticed quite a lot of adults in particular. Again, I'm not being harsh on adult dancers, but as I said, we do struggle, especially if we learn to dance later in life, because when do you normally leap in normal life? I must admit, I sometimes leap over puddles or I leap over something, but it's not normal. I don't think so anyway. So you don't normally leap in normal life. So it's very rare for you to have to jump from one foot and land on the other. And it can feel quite anxiety inducing and quite nerve wracking because your whole body weight and the impetus going forward is going to be landing on that one leg. So you want to build up that strength there as well. So there's some vein. Again, you can do this parallel or you can do it turned out, whichever you like. In ballet class, we have our fondus. Yes, we're going like that. Bend and stretch. Yeah, making sure both legs stretch exactly the same time to reach their full extension at the same time. But again, you want to get that resistance. Imagine you've got a TheraBand around your ankles and you're pulling it in and then you're pushing it out. Yeah, so you're really resisting as you're doing it. So getting that, lots of plies, lots of fondus on one leg will really help because again, it's your entire body weight on one leg. Then again, similar situation, little bounces, getting that going. And then the evil one, hops. Nice loud hops. Yes, again, trying to stretch that underneath foot, because it's the stretch of that foot that pushes you off the floor. What I've noticed a lot of time is people are thinking, I need to jump up higher before I can stretch my feet. But actually stretching your feet will actually make you get off the floor. So it's a double win. To help your feet, rises, we do this in my class every week. Yeah, little rises. I do them in parallel and literally up and down. Keep your ankles together so you're not going over your little toes and sickling. So you basically, if you've got knees that get in the way, you can put like a ball or something between your ankle bones, and that's like a little squishy ball between your ankle bones, and that will stop your ankles from sickling out. What you want to do is make sure your weight is actually, strictly speaking, it's between your big toe and your first toe. I always suggest you think of your weight going over your big toe. That way you're not sickling, definitely not sickling out. And you want to go up and down. Again, that builds up strength in your feet and your calves. And if also just a little push and point. Push and point. And again, going through those feet, the more you do that, the better your jumps will get. Yeah, you can think about that. Think about all the exercises you do in class. Any exercise where you're pushing your foot, tondus. Think of pushing into the floor so it goes ankle, then the toes, toes, then the ankles. You're really working against. You're using that floor for resistance training, basically. So that will help build your toes up and your feet up to make beautiful pushes off the floor. Just those, if you do a few of those every day or every other day, your jumps will improve. Yeah, because it just is building up the strength and the elasticity in your muscles, and then applying that to the tips I've mentioned before, like the rebound effect, thinking about the resistance in the plie. Remember, the more you bend and push the floor away, the higher you're going to go. Okay, so hopefully that's helped. And please do let me know in the comments below if you try these exercises and they work for you. It's so lovely when I get a comment saying, oh, you inspired me or you've helped me. It's really, really lovely, because that's what I'm here for. That's what I want. If I can help one person improve in their ballet, I'm over the moon. Okay, so do subscribe, do share this with your friends. If you want to dance with me, go to bridgeballet.co.uk and you can dance with me, or you can join the club, bridgeballet.club, and you can dance with me anytime, night or day. Win-win. Anyway, I will see you later. Take care. Bye-bye.